So you want to start looking good and feeling good about how you look. You want to lose a little bit of weight, gain some lean muscle, but you don't quite know how to start or where to look to go about it. In this video, I'm going to share with you some extremely important tips and tricks and help motivate you to get you started on your path to fitness and nutrition the right way. Coming up. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. This is Trent from xFit. If you're new to this channel, you might want to consider subscribing so you can be notified when all the new content comes out each week. Okay, so I want to start talking about something that's kind of important. Lately, a lot of people have been coming to me with questions on how to get started with fitness and nutrition. How did I start getting to look the way that I do and feel the way that I feel? So, if you're starting out and you don't quite know where to begin on how to lose fat and gain muscle and start looking the way that you want, this video is going to help you. So one of the questions that I get constantly is, what piece of advice can I give you that is the most valuable? What can I tell you to help you get started quicker and more efficient? Well, the number one tip, okay, the tip of all tips, the secret weapon of tips, it's a lot easier than you think. What it is water. Water, water, water. Think about it like this. Your body mainly consists of water. You're like 75% water. You are like a water being walking around here on Earth, right? All the components and all the parts that we have inside of our bodies are filters to properly digest and metabolize and absorb the nutrition that we get from all the other foods that we eat throughout the day, right? If our body is properly hydrated, it will be working to its full potential and will be able to absorb all the nutrients from all the other foods that we eat and bring them to the places where they need to go within our bodies. And I'm talking about all types of nutrition. We should be drinking about 1 gallon of water a day. Now I know it sounds like a lot, but 1 gallon of water is actually an average amount of what we should be drinking. Of course, depending on your body size, body type. My experience with water is, when I started drinking 1 gallon of water a day, which I had to force myself to do, of course, in the beginning, but I noticed that within just a few days, my hair and my eyes and my skin and my nails, they were all stronger and brighter and fluffier and just better. My whole body was working better. I was tired at night and I was fully awake and energized in the morning. It's like my internal clock was being reset. I had more energy to utilize throughout the day, and it was just from water. So that's the number one tip. Start drinking, or start trying to drink, 1 gallon of water each day. Now don't guess and guess that you're drinking enough water. Get a gallon jug. This is what I do. I get a gallon jug in the morning, okay? And then I just make sure I finish it before the day is done. It's as easy as that. And we might have obstacles, but we're gonna overcome our obstacles and we're gonna force ourselves and we're gonna get our water in. We're gonna get our water intake now. In the beginning for me, drinking 1 gallon of water before the day was done was kind of difficult. Now, to be honest, I drink 1 gallon of water before lunch and I feel great. The second thing that's really important that we need to look at when we're starting our journey on fitness and nutrition, okay, is our food. What we put in our body determines on how we're going to feel and how we're going to look. Now, of course, you might know that. You might go, oh, of course, diet and exercise go together. Well, when we say the word diet, or when I used to hear the word diet, I thought that meant, cutting calories and cutting a lot of foods out of my diet so I wouldn't be overeating. I would be basically starving myself. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about nutrition. I'm talking about lean, dense, massive amounts of nutrition to help kickstart our metabolism. Now, again, this is a crash course on how to really get you started and give you the information that would help you. So, when it comes to nutrition, we're going to be looking at our macronutrients, okay? Now, if you're thinking, macronutrients, what on earth is that? That might be alien to you. Macronutrients are really just protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Those three components are making up all the food that we eat throughout the day. Now, when we are in a fat shredding phase, we want to really melt off some of the grime and some of the gook and some of the stuff that we've been accumulating, okay? We're gonna have a low fat, relatively low carb diet with high protein. Now, the way to figure this out, the way to figure out what you're eating is you have to keep track of it. And what I do is I use calorie counters. There's many different kinds. there are apps that you can get for your phone or your computer. There's Chronometer, there's Fit Day, which I use personally, there's Lose It, there's all different types. What we do is we put the foods in our calorie counter and it will add it up and it will visually show us a graph of the things that we eat and all the components and break it down for us so we can keep track of exactly what we're eating. Now quickly, my experience with a calorie counter, what I did is I logged in and I made a screen name and I made a little profile for, Fit Day was the one that I chose to use, and you can use any one you need, whatever works for you. And I would go into the kitchen and I would pull out an item from the fridge or the cabinet, and on the back of the labels, of the backs of the packages, there are the nutrition facts. Now, if you're not accustomed to reading the nutrition facts or to reading the ingredients of the things that you're eating, this is going to be a crucial principle to instill, is to really keep track of what you're eating and look at what you're eating and know what you're eating. Okay? So on the back of those products, there would be the calories, there would be the fat, there would be the carbohydrates, there would be the sugar, there would be the salt, there would be the protein, there would be all the vitamins and minerals that are in it. So on these calorie counters, I would take a product that I had in the kitchen or I had in the cupboard, and I would just upload what was on the back of the box. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I'm looking at cashew milk. On the back, the nutrition facts, which are right there. Serving size is 1 cup. The amount per serving, 60 calories, 2.5 grams of fat. It would show the saturated fat, trans fat, polyunsaturated fat, monosaturated fat, cholesterol, sodium, potassium, carbohydrate, dietary fiber, sugars, protein, and all of those items that are listed in it. There would be a number, a percentage of what is in it, and I would just upload that and transfer it onto my app that I was using. Okay, now each day I would just grab a few things at a time and upload them on and save it to my profile, right? So then I got to a point where I would log into Fit Day, and I would scroll down and I would click on the things that I was eating, right? And then it would show me a chart. It would show me a graph. It would show me a pie chart, whatever I needed to really understand exactly what I was eating. If I was having too much carbohydrates, I would know to balance it out and eat something else with more protein in it. Or if I wasn't getting enough fat, I knew to eat something with healthy fats in it. Or I was able to make the adjustment appropriately and really maintain a balanced diet to the T. Now, you don't have to be as extreme as I do, but I really want to convey, more than anything, keep track of what you're eating and read the labels. Understand what you're eating. Know what you're putting in your body. Okay, this brings us to our next part. When it comes to carbohydrates, and we're trying to lose weight, trying to lose fat, no carbs at night. The way that carbohydrates work, we utilize carbohydrates as energy. We take them in and we convert them into sugars. Okay? When we eat carbohydrates, we're utilizing them for energy. When we're active, throughout the day, when we have carbohydrates in our meals, we're using them to help fuel us. Okay? So if we eat carbohydrates late at night, when we're getting ready for bed and when we're lying down and when we're kind of going dormant, all those carbohydrates that we're eating at night aren't going to be utilized to use as energy. Okay? They're going to be stored. So what I'm trying to say is, no carbohydrates at night. Of course, when we grow and when we have different goals and we have different body types, we can reintroduce these types of things. But if we're just starting out, no carbs at night. You're going to have your carbohydrates in the morning. Now, at the same time, there are carbs you're going to want to have and there's carbs you're going to want to stay away from. I don't mean, we should be eating white rice, during the day, because there's not much nutritional value in stuff like that, even though they are high in carbohydrates. White bread and things like that. If we want a really dense, nutritious carbohydrate, we're going to go for a complex carbohydrate. Now I'll just sound off some of the items that you might want to invest in. I'm talking about sweet potatoes. I'm talking about quinoa. I'm talking about beans, black beans, white beans, dark red kidney beans, pink kidney beans. I'm talking about chickpeas. Many, many, many fruits and vegetables are high in carbohydrates, and that will help fuel us and utilize the carbohydrates for fuel. So the next part, protein. When we want to have high protein, I kept my ratio, okay, my fat, carbohydrate, and protein ratio to 20, 30, 50. Now, depending on our goals again, they might change. We might have a different ratio. But for me, I suggest and recommend a ratio of 20, 30, 50. That's high protein, medium carbohydrate, low fat. When we're talking about protein sources, lean meats like chicken or lean beef, turkey, we can have salmon or tuna or flounder, many different fishes, many different meats. Also, there's a lot of high protein vegetables as well. Personally, for me, I'm 100% vegan, so I don't eat meat. I use beans to get my protein from, and soy and tempeh and stuff like that. I mean, spinach and broccoli, those are high protein as well. But those are some items that you might want to look at in regard to high protein foods. Now, when I'm talking about fats, now I'm not saying cut out fat, because we need fat. We need fat in our body. It's good for our brain. It's good for red blood cell production. I'm talking about healthy fats though. Again, with nuts like almonds and cashews and walnuts and pecans or pecans, depending on whatever part of the country you're from. I'm talking about avocado. I'm not talking about bacon. Bacon is not a healthy fat. I know there's a lot of people that do eat bacon, and I understand when we're coming from the avenue of being on a keto diet. When our body is in ketosis, we're eating high fat foods to use fat as fuel. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about balanced diet with a low fat diet. And we're going to want to have good, clean, healthy fats. And I don't mean overdo it. And I don't mean eat a whole jar of almonds. Again, if you put it into your calorie counter, you'll know exactly how much you should be eating. Okay? Which brings us to the next part. The fitness part, the exercise part. We can't have one without the other. No matter how healthy you're eating and how much water you're drinking. If you're not exercising and you're not challenging your body, you're not going to get those results that you're really looking for. And the same goes in the other direction as well. If we're training our minds out and we're just eating garbage, and we're eating the things that aren't in accordance with our goals, we're not going to get those results. So when it comes to training, I would go to the gym in the beginning of my fitness journey, right? I would go to the gym and I didn't know really how to use the machines, and I didn't know which muscle groups to exercise each day. So what did I do? I went to the gym and I would hop on the treadmill, right? And I would run for 10 minutes as my warm up, and then I would meander around and look for the weights and look for the machines, and I would just do whatever. I would just squat some stuff, or I basically just did bicep curls all the time, and that's what a lot of other people were doing, but it wasn't the right way. What I want to recommend, what I want to convey, is that it's important to have a schedule. It's important to have a program to follow. If I just went and exercised each day and just did whatever I felt like, I wouldn't have the results that I got. I wouldn't have made the transformation that I had made in the beginning, or any of the transformations that I make. Now, what I'm talking about here is a program to follow. Now, one of the best ways to do this, hands down, is a Beachbody program. Okay, they have many, many different kinds. The ones that I started out with was the P90X. You can see it on my shirt. There's Body Beast, there's Insanity, there's 21 Day Fix, there's 22 Hardcorps. There's many different kinds that are directed and sculpted for an individual with different needs and goals. All right. So I really recommend going on the beachbody.com and looking at the different programs they have to offer. When it comes to figuring out what are the things that we need to do, which muscle groups do we need, which days do we train, this and that, it's all figured out for us. All the legwork, or all the step work, all the trial and error has been already figured out for us. It's just written down. All we have to do is follow along. Now, this is how easy it was for me in the beginning. A lot of people have this conception, that the P90X is this really, really challenging, hard program, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because it's too tough. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. Because you're not physically going to be able to do something that you can't do. You see? And what I mean by that is, after work, each day, I would get home and I would take out the DVD. On the calendar, it said which DVD, which exercise to do. I'd put it in the DVD player, and I would just work out with the trainers on the TV in the living room. That's how I got my results. I would just follow along. I didn't have to think of anything. I didn't have to put anything together. I didn't have to research stuff. I didn't have to look anything up. All I had to do was just follow the directions, right? Now, when it comes to the idea of it being too hard, it's just with lifting weights. And then some days it's jumping around, and then other days it's balance and flexibility. There's different areas that the P90X or different programs have for you to cover, so you can grow in many different ways. But for example, they're not gonna tell you that you have to lift an amount of weight that you can't. Okay, you just do your best. So when I first started, one of the first exercises was chest and back, and I had a little pull-up bar in the doorway, right? I couldn't do a pull-up, so I just hung there. That's all I could do. The next day, we did a different exercise, and then the day after that, we ended up doing pull-ups again. And I hung there again, and I just wrote down that I hung there. After a week, okay, getting back to that exercise, I was able to finally get a pull-up, or most of a pull-up. I wrote down how much I did. Fast forward 90 days, fast forward to 3 months, I was doing many pull-ups. Many. But what I'm trying to convey is, I started and I couldn't do any. So if you're feeling like a program like that is too tough, you really have to be honest with yourself and come to understand that you're probably a lot stronger than you think. And these programs aren't going to ask you to do something you can't do, just as long as you do your best. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're thinking of losing weight, gaining some lean muscle. Let me know if you're interested in doing a program like I do. I'm currently engaged in doing a program right now. At this moment, I'm doing a round of the P90X2. If you want to do this with me, send me a message. I'll tell you everything that I do. I'll share with you everything that I've done and everything that I do in order to feel good, look good, and feel good about how I look. Thanks for watching.